1873. 1873.
How much did you start your business at that time?
At that time, I think I had about 20 cents there.
20 cents.
20 cents.
So
You
all
know,
of this
I've got
20 cents.
I've got this tendency of thinking that, that I can live on handouts, which is not like that at all. You need to have a vision and you need to know what you want to do at the end of the day, and it's one block at a time to get there. It can't just be a windfall. You have to work hard.
Right here on your number one hit radio station. Your voice, your power. 1873. 1873.
Well, it is the Santon Express morning show on your favorite channel of choice, the 1873 FM. And yes, if you just tuned in, well, thank you for making the 1873 FM your channel of choice. Tinashe Mpasile being the name. And yes, very interesting conversation earlier on. And we continue with these conversations where, as individuals, we are striving to build a community of individuals that are knowledgeable on issues that matter. And one issue that is critical at this very moment is the value chain of the business of coronavirus or COVID-19. And this conversation is actually inspired by also myself as an individual who is ready to learn about the value chain. And one thing that I've come to also observe is that order and structure in the value chain is something that is pretty much absent. And joining me this morning in conversation so that we can be able to better understand the value chain in itself, and more importantly, in as far as building structures, and more importantly is placing order in the value chain, is the chairman of the 1873 network, Mr. Mutumwa Mawere, as well as Rockefeller. Mr. Mutumwa Mawere, a wonderful morning to you, and Rockefeller, a good morning to you.
Good morning to you, and thank you for welcoming me to your show.
Well, well, it is a pleasure to have you. And yes, Mr. Mawere, a wonderful morning to you as well.
Yeah, I think, as I said before, it's important for us to understand who is who in the zoo. Maybe we can agree as a starting point that there is a war against this invisible menace, if we can call it.
Mhm.
I don't know that Rockefeller, you would agree that we have a war against an enemy that is not doesn't have a shape like us.
I agree with you totally, and I've said the only person who's trying to be somewhat truthful in this matter, in as much as we think he's got his own issues, is Trump. He's calling this chemical warfare, and I think the truth of the matter is, yes, we're in a war.
So in a war, can you prosecute a war without structure and order?
It is a challenge to prosecute a war without structure and order. What we can try and do is to mitigate the risk. We can try and to treat it, but I think all we can do is manage this in.
Hello?
Yes. So all we can do is manage the symptoms. The challenge we have in our motherland is we don't have the infrastructure. Here
Maybe
in
before we talk about the motherland, let's talk about ourselves. We have Marcy Wilkes, we have Tinashe, we have yourself, we have many others who are following. Just for you to who is Zemba? What do you do, and what is your relationship with this corona menace wherever you are?
Okay, so my full name is Rockefeller Zimba, and I'm a clinical lead for continuing healthcare for Brand CCG. which is in London. So it's how I can describe brain CCG. I'll describe it as say, for example, in Harare, you've got the size will look small in comparing it with Harare, but here it's quite a significant population that I support. Patients who've been discharged from hospital. We've got ongoing healthcare needs that will be supported or will be requiring that support in the community. So that's my function. So in other words, it's commissioning.
You're already in the value chain.
I am already in the value chain, and part of my work from Friday last week was looking at creating capacity. So we are emptying hospitals for new cases that are going to be coming through the system. We are looking at, unfortunately, many cases coming through who will unfortunately be meeting with their maker. The Prime Minister made it very clear that we're going to lose our loved ones, and he said it politely. The harsh truth is many people are going to die, and many people are already dying. So
if you look at the soldiers, you are one of the soldiers.
Yes.
You are a clinical lead, so you are maybe a colonel, not a general yet, because there are other people you report to.
Yes, that's correct.
So that is correct. You are personally touched and concerned.
I am personally touched and concerned. I've got little ones. My youngest twins are 4. One of them was query asthmatic. I'm still having to go on to the wards. I'm still having to go to the hospitals. I'm still having to travel to work. So it's about people's commitment, people's having to live through the challenges. And the harsh reality being of health background is you are naturally trained to, you're naturally a carer, and you're trained to care for people. So you see many people, many healthcare professionals, nurses, social workers, physios, OTs, doctors, etc. They're still going to work. They're still facing these people. So those are the soldiers that are fighting the war as well.
So if you look at Zimbabwe and imagine it's midnight, and you were asked to identify shining stars, these are the men and women who are on the supply side fighting this what Mercy calls a visible disease, because you can test it, you can diagnose it, you can find positive or negative. When you find negative, it means there's a relationship between the victim and this this epidemic or whatever it is. Do you see anyone who stands out, apart from the people in the Ministry of Health and the government of Zimbabwe, as the soldiers, the generals of this fight?
I'll be very honest. I will struggle to find the shining stars from those that you've excluded. The shining stars for me would be the nurses on the ground, the doctors on the ground, all the hospital personnel on the ground, including those cleaners, those cooks. I would struggle to pinpoint who would stand out from the Ministry of Health. I'd struggle to pinpoint who would stand out from even the whole entire leadership.
So you are saying that it's dark at midnight?
It's dark at midnight.
And the war is cleared?
Yeah, I'll only be looking at the nurses for support. I think
the nameless and faceless soldiers.
Exactly.
When you are fighting a war, do you think you need generals? The men and women who think before acting?
Yes, in every war you need people who plan, you need people who coordinate, You need people who will be taking responsibility for where things are going wrong. The unfortunate part with our style of leadership is our generals would be in this war, would be folding their hands from a distance, and not actually.
You've already said it's dark, so let's assume there is no general who steps forward except Sakunda and Tagwirei, who has stepped forward.
With that, I'm challenged.
You only have, let's say, Tagwirei, if he had not stepped forward and eaten whatever the loot that he is alleged to have accumulated, then he will not be associated with COVID-19.
Unfortunately, sir, I'm going to go a little bit round on this. Everyone is at significant risk. Even Prince Charles here, as rich as he is tested positive. When we have the likes of Sakunda Holdings, right now they are talking about this medical facility, which can only house 38 people, I'm told. I don't understand how they are supporting on a national or large scale.
Look, Sakunda may have seen an opportunity. That is an infrastructure that is idle. The disease is a good cash flow issue. That a person on his dying bed, even the death of Zororo Makamba, has created new interest in the value chain.
Yeah, I'll take you a couple of steps back a little bit. I will use the name Sakunda rather than Tagwirei in this instance because I don't quite understand the setup there. We've got this Sakunda leading on Command Agriculture, which I believe was a huge failure. And for them to be taking
you are making an allegation that it was a failure.
Where is the food? Millie Meal is being offered for
made billions out of it.
Sorry?
Some people are alleged to have made billions out of Command. So for the supply side of Command,
I see what you mean. It was a success on their part in the sense that they managed to make billions out of it, whereas the intended target was for the general public to be able to access.
The intended outcome or promise of government service is to serve the public. Who told you that?
Is this okay? Maybe I'm a believer.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah. Hi, Mr. M.
Yeah, I think you had cut us off.
Sorry, Ella.
We just had a technical issue that I was looking at, but yes, we can go ahead with the conversation.
Okay.
So Rockefeller, the lesson today is don't assume public office bearers are there to deliver a public.
Hello. Yeah. Can I come in?
Yeah. Okay. Come in.
Yeah. That is a very good lesson, and the fact that we make these assumptions and we strongly believe every 5 years that things are going to get better, is something that I need to take out of my mind. I know it's deeply rooted, deeply ingrained, believing in the system, assuming that people will make things better. I don't know what would be the solution to this. I have had
Oh,
the
you know what?
opportunity.
You know what the solution is?
Yes.
Is to make you a general.
And we need more generals like me.
Yeah, clinical lead.
That.
So, Tinashe, there's an echo.
Yes, I'm getting that echo, and I'm trying to actually identify where it's coming from. Because on my end, I only have the StreamYard open and nothing else. And maybe, Mr. Mo, can you check from your end? And also, Rockefeller, check from your end. Is there nothing else that's playing?
No, I'm actually upstairs, so there's no.
Go out, come. Let's go out.
Hello? Yes,
Okay.
let's, yeah. Okay, if you are tuned into the 1873 FM and you are also keen to better understand who is who in the value chain of the COVID-19 business, then this is the platform. We've been having a conversation with Rockefeller as well as Mr. Mutuma Mawere as we are trying to establish who stands out as that general, is that pope in the COVID-19, in the fight against COVID-19 or in the coronavirus value chain. Yes, I've managed to reconnect with Mr. Mawere as well as Rockefeller. I think it's now much better. We can get ahead with our conversation.
So, Tinashe, do you know what Rockefeller looks like?
No. Actually, I don't even know what he looks like. And when
So
I saw even the
general faceless, but
Sorry?
with the name.
Sorry?
Hello?
I said, Tinashe, would you want a general who is faceless but with a name?
I think I would not want that general. I want to see the general's face so that I'm also inspired when I see him. And that is my general.
Do you mind if you share my picture with him? I'll send it to you now.
No, you are live.
I'm live.
Your own.
I was just getting ready for work, so I'm not in the best shape.
Wow. All right.
But I promise.
Just to see that you are a proof of life. Otherwise, you could be some other monster coming from another planet and calling you COVID-20.
Let me try to get something that will make me look decent. If we carry on with the conversation, I'll start trying to put up something.
All right. Yeah. So that and Marcy said Zimbabwe needs to be a case study. The entry of corona and determine that 2 critical infections control centers are okay. Harare and people will fall in an orderly fashion. 38 on a rotational basis with 1 respirator. Beautiful patient care pathway. Now, Marcy is got another subject that we need to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
But today we're just talking about order and structure. But today we don't have shining stars. Why can't we have Marcy?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Why can't we have Marcy as a shining star?
Yes.
Yeah, now you see, that's
now I can salute my general.
Good morning.
Yeah. So,
yes.
And you look like a Zimbabwean in the UK.
Oh, thank you.
Please keep on shining, because the people at home look up to you, although you are not there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There are opportunities of making this system work. I've got some colleagues who are in far much higher position than me here in the UK who have tried to engage various ministries. For example, the Minister of Health, accessing a minister was a challenge. They were being asked, what's in it for me? And you're thinking you're trying to help develop policies that will move the country forward.
But mosquitoes bite, Rockefeller. But
Yeah,
when we are not organized, accept that we are not organized. I didn't know you.
Absolutely.
yes,
And now we are on the same platform.
yes,
Can
and
we salute that?
yes,
Mhm.
We are not fighting.
definitely,
We are
definitely.
not allegations. We are saying if we put a list of people, Rockefeller, that are value players, let's organize ourselves into an army for change.
I agree with you, definitely.
And
I
we will
agree.
tell the minister that we have a clinical lead coming from the dark continent of Zimbabwe, specific of Africa, and specifically from the country of Zimbabwe, who is now in the UK and taking the lead.
Exactly, exactly.
Can
You know,
we use him in this digital age?
there are many opportunities, many things that we could suggest, many things that we've
Oh,
seen.
why should we suggest to a minister? Who is a minister to you?
Mm.
Do you even know who your minister is of health or secretary for health?
I don't even know.
You don't care. But there is
Yeah,
a problem in Zimbabwe that needs to be fixed.
yes.
It's
So,
not fixed by a minister.
yes. And I
Let's
think,
not glorify these human beings and call them generals when there's no army of people like you.
yes, I agree with you totally.
How
I
can
agree
you
with
be
you totally.
a general of starving nurses, of starving doctors?
Mm.
That is the harsh truth. That is the harsh truth. Marcia or Marcy is asking, why do Zimbabweans always approach a minister? I think to answer as well what you said, Dr. Mawere, is when we look at where we are, we want to try and effect change on a large scale. Hold on, baby. Sorry, like I said, I'm still at home. It's okay. You can come downstairs. That's my 6-year-old daughter.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. Yeah. So we
No,
want
no,
to try.
no, you don't even have to answer that question, Rockefeller.
Uh-huh.
She's not talking to you as a group. She's saying you said you wanted to see the minister. We want to leave this show saying never again shall I approach a minister
Mm.
to solve a problem that is not a ministerial problem.
That is true. Because one thing that on reflection on what you're saying, does a minister understand their role? And when you say ministerial role, what is it that they're expected to do? From my understanding of Minister of Health, Secretary for Health, they are there to ensure that service is being delivered, which is contrary to what we are seeing happening in Zimbabwe. I don't know how far true this is, but I understand the Health Services Board, they bought some Range Rovers. I'm yet to get the truth to that. But if that's what's being said and that's what has happened, then I think we need to rethink what our role is in this system.
But if you agree that you are now our general,
Yes.
let's not talk about the minister's role. Let's talk about you playing your part.
Yes.
In terms of knowledge sharing,
Uh-huh.
experiences in the UK, when you go to work, we'll
Yes.
ask to show us what you are doing.
Do you know, we're doing quite a lot of good things. And a lot of it is out of a system that we can develop anywhere in this world where there is accountability, there is responsibility, and people will actually be satisfied with what is being offered. Whereas when we look at our system, it's for the select few.
You ran away from Zimbabwe. Let's agree. Let's celebrate that you are not.
Tinashe, save me on this one.
Well, I can't save you, but I can only say I ran from Zimbabwe so that I could search for a better, because I believed that in South Africa there's a better promise to life, and I can attest to that. With right now, here I am. I've met you. We are with Mr. Mawere, with Marcy Wilkes, and we are having this fundamental conversation.
Yes.
Just understanding who is who in the value chain and who
Exactly.
ought to be our general and what part I can play. So I
Yes.
celebrate running away from Zimbabwe on my own.
Yes. I want to say, if I had not left Zimbabwe, I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity which I have now. I left Zimbabwe with just O levels. I didn't go to A levels, but I've got 2 degrees now. And the education system in Zimbabwe is, if you don't have certain points, you're not going a step ahead.
Don't compare. When you leave someplace, Rockefeller, and you arrive at another destination,
yes,
and you work hard to get where you are, let's celebrate that, learn from you.
Exactly. I know. I'll take that.
Let's not worry about it. And now we have a problem that we have missing faces, black like you and me.
Yes.
In this COVID-19.
Yes.
Yeah. So we want to be able to, if I can't see the UK Minister of Health or Secretary for Health, why should I see the Zimbabwean one and glorify him?
Exactly.
Him for doing things that he can't do anyway.
That is the unfortunate part.
2 degrees.
Yes.
You did it yourself.
That's true.
So we are here today to identify generals who are playing their part wherever they are.
Totally agree.
Those who remain in Zimbabwe, imagine you go to Wilkins Hospital, you are told that there's no ventilator. And then somebody brings a ventilator, you're told that there's no adapter.
And no electricity.
You find the adapter, then you are told the ventilator cannot connect itself. So it's not working. And everybody says the ventilator is a necessary tool to fight this war against COVID-19.
Yes.
And in Zimbabwe, the ventilator is missing in action.
Do we not have one in that big ambulance?
No, I'm saying is accept that someone has died, one too many.
Yeah, no, but I was a little bit sarcastic.
That cause us to reflect on what is going on in the country you left, thinking that it was in irresponsible hands. Accept that accountability is not there.
No, it's not
so
there.
From there and build systems of accountability, starting with you, just talking about what you do.
Yes. Yes.
So that's why we disrupted you, because we're in a group where somebody's writing an article, making a whole lot of allegations. Some of those are not founded on fact.
Yes.
If I have a problem about command agriculture, let's talk about command agriculture.
Very true. Very true.
Let's those who have the idea called commandist.
Yes.
And who are the generals of this command idea? and what is the ideal of commanding others?
Yes.
Would you leave Zimbabwe to go to a country where you are commanded to be a clinical lead?
Yes.
Would you do that?
Trusted with huge responsibilities.
No.
And,
Would you leave Zimbabwe to go to a country where somebody tells you what to do?
No.
Or you have a passion for what you're doing?
I have a passion for what I'm doing, and I tell my seniors, those above me, what I want to do. And their role is to support me on what I want to do. That is how
Yeah.
the system works here. So every year, when we're doing our commissioning intentions, I'm being asked, what do you want to achieve this year? What is your priority? And
You
we have
did anyone send you an instruction, command you?
no.
So do you agree that any idea that comes into human affairs called command is a bad one?
It is. I agree with you.
Facts.
Yes.
So you can't leave Zimbabwe to go to a place where your freedom is compromised because somebody else thinks they know better because they're in government. Somebody thinks because they're a minister, they have all the solutions.
No. The way the system works is the minister is actually going to the people for advice, for support. He's not just making decisions from whenever he wakes up or whatever side of the bed he wakes up on. You go to the people, you do consultations, you understand what people's problems are, and you look at supporting them out of those problems. But in our motherland, it's the opposite. You
No,
go
don't
to
talk about the motherland that you ran away from. Let's talk about where you are. So, Rockefeller, I'm just giving you a hard time. After the content, what is your take of the content? Relevant.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't get the last bit.
I said, what is your take of the content of this conversation that we ambushed you?
It's quite good in the sense that it's provoking thought. It's helping us realize where we are in this system that has stolen people's future, that is destroying human life on a day-to-day basis. And most of it is unreported, unrecorded. We've normalized death, we've normalized poverty, we've normalized...
Not we. You are not we, then. Are we talking to the we or we're talking to Rockefeller?
One of my weaknesses, which I should have said at the start, is when I see something wrong, instead of pointing or blaming, I try and say we, because that way people tend to take that on board, because I'm including myself, even though I'm not responsible for that.
So don't include us without our consent. Just, you are enough on your own. You have a mind of your own.
Yes. You know what I like about you? Every time we talk or text, you leave me with something to think about.
Yeah, you deserted Africa on your own. So let's celebrate that. And we have set up a group called COVID-19 Banking on Africa's Future.
Yes.
And we are trying to build an inventory of people like you.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
The question is, would you want to be part of this beauty pageant?
Yes, I would. And I'll share with you a couple of names which I think would be very, very helpful in the process.
Don't share, just add yourself, because you'll be an admin. It's a WhatsApp group. So we have target to fill it today with different people who are borderless.
Yes. Who have deserted the country.
You are being hosted by a radio station called 1873.
Yes, I do
Have
listen
you?
to it from time to time. Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what 1873 stands for?
No, I didn't know what it stands for.
1 plus 8.
18.
No, 1 plus 8.
Oh, sorry. 1 plus 8, 9. Sorry, now it's 4 plus 40.
We're going to ask the government of the UK to deport you back.
Sorry. 1 plus 8 is goes to 9. Sorry.
All right. And 7 plus 3.
7 plus 3 is 10.
And what is the difference?
The difference between 9 and 10 is 1 or minus 1.
Okay. What is a hyphen?
Sorry?
A hyphen. You know what a hyphen is?
Yeah. The middle line, which is smaller than a minus. Yes.
Is it a 1?
Sorry, maybe I'm trying to be,
Do you
Kanaja.
agree that the hyphen is the 1?
Yes, I agree. That's the one.
But it's just turned 180 degrees, is it?
Yes, that's correct.
Huh?
Yeah, so it's one that's turned 180 degrees. Yes.
When you go to someone's tombstone, what is the difference between the date of birth and the date of death?
I'm confused. Sorry. I'm lost.
When you go to a tombstone of someone, you say born on this day, died on this day.
Yes.
And what separates the two dates is a hyphen.
Yes.
That's your life.
I'm going to ask a little bit more after the show.
All right. So we are saying we celebrate humanity, that a human being is indivisible, like a one.
Yeah.
Whether you are in the UK, you are in Zimbabwe, you are still you.
Yes.
So don't wait to go back to Zimbabwe to contribute.
I agree.
Your ideas, your experience can provoke change.
That is very true.
It can inspire somebody.
That is very true.
Ignite somebody.
And could save a life.
COVID-19 also is provocative.
Yes.
Inspiring. It's depressing.
It is.
But also igniting us to talk.
That is very true.
Platform in its name.
Yes.
So that's what we are doing. Let's provoke change by not pretending to solve all the problems.
No.
By just sharing our stories, daily stories.
Exactly. And you call it the idea.
You now get the idea.
Yes, you call it the idea.
An idea that is borderless, like a one.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter where you are, how far you've gone.
Very true.
We still can collaborate, conspire to inspire.
Fully agree with you.
So henceforth, you are now a general.
Thank you. I accept the challenge.
Against COVID-19.
Yes.
You may be able to give a voice to a problem. You may be able to give action to a problem.
Yes.
And you are the minister that we are waiting for.
Thank you. Thank you.
Servant people.
Yes. Not the one who walks around the wards dangling the Range Rover keys in his hands doing nothing.
That's right. You don't worry about that one, because they drive nice cars, but do play your part, and they'll discover that you are okay.
Yes.
You don't need a Range Rover to solve a problem.
Exactly. Exactly.
So finally, are you happy that I didn't give you questions?
You always challenge me in a different way every time. So, like I said, you always leave me with something to think about. And you do make this, so this is a compliment to you now. I think you do make a very good coach. You do develop people. You do help people think different and approach different. So that is one of your biggest strengths. So yes, I really appreciate you take me on a different direction all the time.
Thank you very much. You know, I didn't know that I have an impact on you,
You do.
but it's good to know. And Tinashe, are you happy?
I'm actually quite happy in as far as the conversation is concerned this morning. Just knowing Rockefeller, that's the starting point in as far as bringing order and or structure to this. In as far as addressing the challenge of order and structure, just knowing one another is fundamental. Now I know I have a general that I look up to, and that is Rockefeller, and I can salute Rockefeller for showing up on this platform so that he can be able to add his voice. Not so many would want to add their voices and just share their experiences and also insights on subjects that matter.
Yes, and thank you for offering me the opportunity. I just want to say this COVID-19 is here. The threat is real. As you said right from the start of the conversation, how do you fight with an invisible soldier? Let's take this seriously. The scale at which it's going to affect the whole of the world is, I don't know how to describe it. And when we hear the cases of Sakunda talking about 38 beds and think that's a huge success, it's far from what is actually required on the ground. People will drop. And I've been saying to my family, friends, please don't accept any visitors. If you don't have to leave the house, don't. Try and look at, when I know things are very hard in Zimbabwe, but if there's an opportunity to access stuff like maize, rice, things that will last for quite a long time, just do that. So sorry baby, it is on the call. Shh, please. Sorry about that. Yeah, so leave the house only if it's necessary to do so. We don't want to lose many people. There was a projection of 260,000 deaths, and I think that's just going to be much more than that. Things are very crucial. Things are very critical. Let's look at supporting each other. Please, it's a very difficult time. Let's prepare for the worst. Let's prepare for the best. Where
you see, you need now to change from we to I. Just the I is called one. That's why we call it 1873.
1873, yes.
It's a one step on its own feet.
Yes. So I am.
If you just look at the world, look at what role you're playing, and that you count as an individual, and what you are doing is enough.
Thank you.
The time that you have.
Yes.
Let's celebrate what we are doing with our time, rather than lecture others.
Yes.
To do what we think they must do.
Yes.
And finally, when you look at a dog barking and a train is, should it be the business of the train to stop the dog barking?
No.
And if the dog is driving a Range Rover, if I'm going somewhere, should that worry me?
I should just continue on my journey.
Exactly. Continue in your own lane.
If Taguire has got 4 rock foundation and has got 38 beds, should it be my business to worry about what Taguire is doing?
No.
or I must worry about what I am not doing.
That is very true. That's taking responsibility for your own actions rather than other people's inactions.
Yeah, so let's not waste radio time to talk about things that other people are doing
Mhm.
and not what we are doing, just
Yes.
because we love what we are doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, for all the listeners out there, this is your opportunity to play your part. Africa is no leg, it doesn't travel.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't travel, then obviously we must be the legs of Africa. We must be the voices of Africa. We must be the eyes and ears of Africa wherever we are, whatever we are doing.
Mhm.
And also, let's thank people like Rockefeller just
Thank
for
you.
agreeing to have time, just to share and not to answer any question,
Yes.
to share and not give a vision, and leave the Creator to give us the legs to get where we must get
Yes.
in the service of humanity. So that tomorrow Africa is brighter because we have decided to make Africa what we are doing. Everything you do will shine.
Thank you. Thank you.
But let's convert the future into politics, into ideas that don't reflect an ideal that you want to get to. Let's use radio as a vehicle to communicate, to educate, to inform, not
Mhm.
to misinform.
Yes.
And the information is talking about ourselves,
100%.
having a platform where we share experiences,
Yes.
not invest in arguments,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
arguments produce outcomes.
Yes.
And eye for an eye, we end up all blind. So let's step forward. And
Yes.
Tinashe, thank you for giving us an extended time. Hopefully, the people who are listening will join us just to be part of this experiment,
Yes.
that we can create a bank of human beings, diverse as we are, complex as we are, confused as we may be, but together we will reflect the promise. Because
Yes.
in each and every one of us, there is a solution that is waiting to be seen and to be
Yes.
communicated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Rockefeller. Thank you, Mr. Mawere, for your time and for your contributions to these conversations. And yes, definitely looking forward to even more sharing in as far as these issues are concerned, in order for us to be able to secure the kind of future that we all want collectively. And on that note, it brings us to the end of this morning's show. But nonetheless, we continue having these conversations on the 1873 FM's social media platforms. That is on Twitter. You can follow the 1873 FM. You can also follow the 1873 network. And if you have any questions that you might want us to delve on, feel free to share those questions, and not just questions, but even your personal experiences in as far as these challenges that we are facing are concerned, how you have managed to navigate through some of these challenges. You could be the individual with the solution to that particular problem, but you only know after stepping up and showing up for your time. So on that note, keep it locked on your channel of choice for more insightful and more informative programming. Tinashe Mpasiri being the name, and be sure to share this video with others so that we keep the conversation going. And yes, Tapiwa Chitambo, thank you for your comment as well. Saying priorities for any government must clearly focus on fighting COVID 19. In Zimbabwe, priorities should be on providing food and clean water in self quarantine if self quarantine is to succeed. But one thing that I can say I've learned from this conversation is that worry not about what the other individual is doing or what government is doing, but rather worry on those things that you are not doing yourself as an individual. And I leave you listening to sounds of the 1873 United Artists with a track titled Working on My Dash.